What's good, Dragon Ball Super fans out there? It's your boy Rebel here, back again with another video for you guys. So now that we got Jiren's backstory, was it anything that we expected, or was it like something just out of left? Because it seemed like they kind of rushed it to put it out there as Dragon Ball Super is ending pretty quick, and it doesn't even seem like we even gonna get any more to his backstory, just because of the fact that he actually told Belmont to shut his mouth, honestly. Like, he doesn't want no one to know his true like backstory or whatever. Well, the rest of his backstory. He probably doesn't like to speak on it because it just shows how weak he was before. So now we get the backstory or whatever. It's so similar to Batman's backstory and other like superhero backstory. You got Goku's backstory who was similar to Superman's. Now you got Jiren's backstory who's similar to Batman's. These I expected a little bit more from his backstory, seeing that I didn't want it to be so close to like a superhero type of backstory, but it does fit his character, as his backstory shows. His ideals grew from him being so weak. That's why he says strength is absolute, and his backstory actually would have something to do with his wish, which we kind of don't know what it would be right now, but it definitely has something to do with what happened in his past, and something about being strength being absolute and what lies beyond strength. So things like that. We just got to put the connections to it to figure out what his wish would be. I think he will tell us what his wish will be at some point in time. Only 17 knew what that was. But back to the backstory. Now, him growing up, going through all this training and things like that, I kind of thought we was going to have like some type of like backstory to like showing how he's gotten so strong. Like, it really doesn't tell us how he surpassed a god of destruction, how he his name like is known by the angels, like he's the mortal stronger than gods. So that could have been a little portion that they could have showed us, but I knew they wasn't going to really show us the whole backstory. I knew they was going to give us a little teaser, because actually they kind of laid the groundwork for like a little spin-off on Jiren's like, backstory, Jiren's life or whatever. Because if they really want to, they could make a movie, a little spin-off series on his backstory, and they could cash in with that. So they just gave us a little teaser towards it. We wasn't gonna get the rest, because it seems like all these new antagonists, I don't even know if that's even a word, but anyways, these new antagonists, we don't really get their backstory or anything. Like Hit, we didn't know nothing about Hit's backstory, just that he lived for a long ass time. That's all we know about Hit. Zamasu, we don't know his backstory, but we saw him like turn into the villain in front of us. Like they showed it why he turned into a villain. So things like that, we just didn't get a lot from other like villains. Like when you got into Dragon Ball Z, you kind of got more of the backstories of a lot of the villains. Frieza, we knew his backstory because he was heavily connected to the Saiyans. Who else we had? Cell was a kind of an artificial thing, so like his backstory was explained as he was being put through. Then you got Majin Buu. We knew about his backstory as Bobbity, Bibbity, and all of them made him or whatever, and he was around long before time or something like that. I forgot what it was, but he was around for a very long time also. So there was a huge difference between the way Dragon Ball Z handled the antagonist and the way Dragon Ball Super handles their antagonist. And I think Dragon Ball Z did a much better job on handling the antagonist of the series, because now it's so like we at the end of the Tournament of Power, and now you tell us about his backstory, and it doesn't even like make anything like relevant. The backstory doesn't really make anything relevant. It doesn't even allow us to actually know what his wish was. Like if they somehow connected, like we actually figured out what his wish was between his backstory being told to us and present time now, it would have been way better that way. But now that we actually like, we still got more questions on what his backstory is, the rest of his backstory, and what more questions on what could his wish could possibly be, because there's three different ways of looking at his wish. Now, the first way is looking at it as it has something to do with his backstory. His the person that killed his family and friends, things like that. Um, Strength, what lies beyond strength. That's the second thing. We don't know what lies beyond strength, honestly. Then the saying of him saying strength is absolute. So there's kind of, we don't know what his wish would technically be. So if his backstory actually told us, kind of gave us an answer to what his wish would be, it would have been better. It would have been way better presented towards us. But as of right now, the backstory wasn't all that, so we didn't really need it now. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so, and I'll check you guys later. Peace, YouTube.